Simple Tales presents The Giant Who Had No Heart in His Body, from Norwegian Folklore. Long ago, in a kingdom surrounded by mountains and forests, there lived a king with 7 sons and 1 daughter. The king loved all his children dearly, but he was especially fond of his daughter, who was wise, kind, and beloved throughout the land. One day, disaster struck. A terrible giant descended from the northern mountains. The creature was enormous, with a voice like thunder and strength greater than 10 men. Before anyone could stop him, he carried away the princess to his distant castle. The king's 7 sons swore they would rescue their sister. One by one, they set out into the wilderness, but none returned. Months passed, then years. The king grew old with grief. At last, only the youngest prince remained. Unlike his brothers, he was not known for great strength or impressive deeds. Many considered him too young and inexperienced to succeed where the others had failed. Yet he loved his sister deeply. One morning, he asked his father's blessing and began his journey. The prince travelled through forests, crossed rivers, and climbed mountains. Along the way, he shared food with hungry travellers. He helped an old woman gather firewood. He rescued a raven caught in a hunter's snare. He even stopped to aid a starving wolf trapped beneath a fallen tree. Again and again, he chose kindness over haste. Though each delay slowed his progress, he could not ignore those in need. Eventually, he reached a lonely cottage deep within the forest. There lived an ancient woman who seemed to know many secrets. When the prince told her of the giant and the missing princess, she nodded slowly. "I know the creature you seek," she said, "but no weapon can kill him." The prince's heart sank. "Then how can he be defeated?" The old woman leaned closer. "The giant does not keep his heart inside his body." The prince stared in confusion. The woman explained. Long ago, fearing death, the giant had hidden his heart far away. As long as it remained hidden, no sword, spear, or arrow could harm him. "But where is it?" asked the prince. "That," said the old woman, "is the question you must answer." She directed him toward the giant's castle. The journey was long, but eventually the prince reached it. There he found his sister, alive and unharmed. She embraced him with tears of joy. Then she told him the terrible truth. The giant intended to marry her against her will. The prince hid within the castle while they planned their escape. But first, they needed to learn where the giant's heart was hidden. The princess began speaking kindly to the giant. She asked questions. She listened carefully. Day after day, she gained his trust. At last, she casually asked whether he feared anything. The giant laughed. "I fear nothing." "Nothing at all?" she asked. The giant smiled proudly. "Very well, I shall tell you." He explained that far away stood a lake. In the middle of the lake was an island. On the island stood a church. Inside the church was a well. At the bottom of the well swam a duck. Inside the duck was an egg. and inside the egg was the giant's heart.
The giant laughed again. No one will ever reach it. That night, the princess secretly told the prince everything. At dawn, he slipped away and began searching. The quest proved even harder than he imagined. The lake was vast, the island difficult to reach, the church ancient and abandoned. Yet every time the prince faced an obstacle, someone he had helped earlier appeared. The raven guided him through unfamiliar lands. The wolf helped him cross dangerous wilderness. Others he had aided along the way came to his assistance. The prince realized that none of his kindnesses had been wasted. Each act had created an ally. Each good deed now returned to help him. Eventually, he reached the island. Inside the church, he found the well. Deep within it swam the duck. With the help of his animal friends, he captured it. The duck escaped once, but the raven caught it. When the duck was opened, the egg fell out.
The prince carefully held it in his hand. At that very moment, far away in the castle, the giant suddenly cried out. His strength began to fade. The prince squeezed the egg slightly. The giant stumbled. He squeezed it again. The giant fell to his knees. At last, the prince crushed the egg completely. The giant collapsed and never rose again. His power vanished forever. The princess was free. The prince returned home with his sister and his brothers, who had been imprisoned by the giant all those years. The kingdom celebrated for many days. The old king embraced his children and wept with joy. When the time came, the youngest prince inherited the throne. Many praised his courage, others praised his cleverness, but the prince himself remembered something more important.
The giant had seemed impossible to defeat, yet the victory had not come from strength alone. It came from wisdom. It came from perseverance. And it came from the countless small acts of kindness he had shown throughout his journey. Had he ignored those in need, he would have faced every challenge alone. Instead, when the greatest trial arrived, help appeared from every direction. The good we do often returns when we need it most, though rarely in the ways we expect. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share Simple Tales. There are many more legends waiting to be told.